Even worse. Wait, you're. This is so bad. Okay, you're telling me that not only has he put this on Ari for leaking it, but he sent. This guy sent it to 14-year-old girls? Look, listen, if the jury sees this preponderance of evidence, I'm sorry, this case is slammed shut. Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I go by the name of Dr.Heinz. Thank you so much for tuning in. To all my new subscribers, thank you so much for subscribing onto the channel, and welcome to the wonderful world of Dr. Heinz Thought Express. To my existing subscribers, do check to see if you're still subscribed. I've been receiving quite a few mentions and quite a few messages from various people saying that they are unsubscribed for some reason. So it could be a YouTube glitch, I don't know, but do check to see if you're still subscribed. On this video, we are going to be continuing from part 1 of looking at the Ariadna Jacob versus Taylor Lorenz defamation case alongside with the New York Times. And this video is a continuation of that part 1, as we are going to be looking at the amended complaint that has been filed. If you haven't seen part 1, do check it out. It's linked onto the title card. It's quite important to actually understand the context behind this reading, but may not be all that necessary if you don't really care about it. So if you don't care about context, do continue on. All right, so let's go on to the part 2 of the video. I'm not sure if this is referring to specifically Devion, Drip Crip LA. I'm not sure if it's him that's been doing the sending to the 14-year-old girls, or if the nude itself has been sent to them off Devion, but it's not actually by Devion. I'm not sure, but this is messy. Like I did not expect it to get to this level where there's literally no way. And you try pinning this on Ariadna to say she leaked it? Alright. Flipping heck. Talk about opening your own can of worms. Like, flipping heck. You didn't think this might come back on you? Like, wow. Anyway, further, as plaintiffs informed defendants prior to publication of the article, when Jacobs became aware of the illicit photographs, and because Influences was working on multiple business transactions with Young, Jacob informed an Influences staff member who was and is under a non-disclosure agreement with Influences about the photographs' existence. Further, after Jacob received a text message alerting her to an allegation that after Jacob received a text message alerting her to an allegation that Young was sending nude photos to an underage girl, so it was him, and posting them all over the internet, she immediately forwarded the screenshots of those text messages to the house manager of Drip Crip, the influencer house where Young resided. As a matter of pressing ethical concern, Jacob also immediately confronted Young about the allegations and informed him of her conversation with the talent manager. At no point did Jacob publicly disseminate or leak the photographs as Young and defendants falsely claimed. So funny. This is such a self. I've never seen such a self. Oh, you're telling me that you did this to 14-year-old girls. You send these to 14-year-old girls, and then you put it on someone who can make a case to bring this public. You did not think this. I mean, it's a kid. You know what? Let me just leave it. It's a kid. Probably didn't know that he was gonna get to this level. Probably didn't think that it would even be investigated, because it is Taylor Lorenz. So flipping egg. But Jesus Christ, the self-own on this is amazing. The screenshots Jacob forwarded to Young's house manager were taken from the very messaging forums where the photographs had already been leaked to over 200,000 people, and did not include the nude portions of the photographs. In Young's text messages to Jacob. He explains to her how the photographs may have been leaked, which has nothing to do with Jacob, as follows. I'm sorry, like, this is basically discovery. Like, all of this should have been saved for discovery, but I don't blame her for putting, if she has this, I don't know what else she's just leaving in the lurker, because Jesus Christ, if this doesn't prove actual malice, I don't know. If this doesn't even infer actual malice, I don't know what will. Yet Lorenz and the Times ignored the inconvenient fact that they knew about the timing of this defamation of the new photographs, and instead published the false narrative that Jacob had leaked them to her business partners, then doubled down on this false allegation in subsequent statements. Reuters doing no research and covering how rich, how flipping rich. Reuters doing no research? Are you serious? Now, Taylor, like, for real? Oh my days. Everybody's gonna take a big hit. That's what Reuters said. She quoted Reuters saying Reuters doing no research and covering a TikTok house residents described as a living nightmare. No, you're joking me right now. Based on everything we know, I can't believe you actually thought you would get away with this. You're accusing Reuters of doing no research, but let's see. And they said something factual. Anyway, whose manager has been accused of withholding tens and thousands of dollars from talent. This is the manager. One talent leaked his nudes as retaliation. How you get out of this is like, it's you're not getting out of this. I'm sorry, but that whole it reminds me of that. You know that Scrubs. I'm not sure if you watch Scrubs. I'm not sure who watches Scrubs here, but you know that Scrubs episode in which Sarah Chalk's character, I forgot her name, Elliot was doing something that was outrageously bad. I think it was a collar, and she was basically trying to explain herself out of it, and the cutaway gag or the flash in JD's head was her digging the grave and was burying herself. This is the visual, this is the real life depiction of that. I cannot believe how you dunked yourself this badly. Like, Jesus Christ, you were told. I'm sorry, but you were told. You could have investigated, like, before this. Like, anyway, the final section in the defendant's hit piece article is entitled "Parenting in the Influencer Age." Defendants quote singer's mother describing Jacob's behavior as shameful for taking advantage of her daughter's access to a lot of money. In fact, Singer was not even under contract with plaintiffs, and Singer was unable to generate enough followers or revenue producing content to justify her staying at the GIV house past a trial run. Defendants then claim that plaintiffs attempted to sign Ms. Zila, that name sounds familiar, 16-year-old daughter Ellie, to a management contract, and that Ms. Zila declined, but soon discovered that Ms. Jacob had already added Ellie to the talent portion of an influencer's marketing deck. This is false, and defendants knew. The true facts and sequencing, as plaintiffs informed defendants prior to publication, are as follows. Plaintiffs never represented Ms. Zila or her daughter with a management contract, and never represented to anyone in the industry that plaintiffs had a management contract with the Zilas. Further, defendants knew that Zila was not on any marketing deck for influencers, as no such deck existed. Rather, Zila was initially listed on the GIV informational deck with the consent of Zila's mother, who even provided suggestions and input about this deck, as seen from the following text screenshot between Jacob and Ellie's mother seriously. You can't be serious. You cannot be serious. Why? Come on. Come on. Oh my days. So the mother knew and still went ahead and done this hit piece. But okay, so subsequently, Lorenz texted Jacob asking for all our decks for the influencer houses in connection with the delayed moves article Lorenz was working on at the time. And Jacob provided Lorenz with the informational deck, which at the time included Ellie's name. Oh my. Is there a point of reading all of this now? It's open and shut. As a courtesy, Jacob then texted Miss Zila to explain that Lorenz was doing a story about content houses and that Jacob had sent her the GIV informational deck that had previously been approved by Miss Zila. This text opened a conversation between Jacob and Miss Zila concerning Ellie's future, and Jacob for the first time asked Miss Zila if she would consider influences as Ellie's manager. Zila's mother responded by saying that they weren't interested in retaining management and by offering that if joining GIV meant Ellie had to sign to influences, that Jacob didn't have to include Ellie in the deck if she didn't want to. Jacob responded to clarify that Ellie's joining GIV was not contingent on her signing with influences. Miss Zila responded saying, I think to keep it clean, you can take Ellie out of the GIV deck for now, but when the time comes to make it happen, we can revisit. Jacob promptly did so and updated Lorenz that Zila was no longer involved with the project. I said it. As seen in the following text. You cannot be serious. Just need the addresses. So, you were not only informed of this consent by the mother and even the fact that the mother co-signed her being removed from the deck, but you said, oh, thank TY, super helpful info. I have never seen such a snake. I'm sorry, but I can see, I can honestly see and understand why the extension was asked, was petitioned. I can understand it. You need all the time you get to try and clean up this dumpster fire and have this case dismissed on an anti-slap, because it's not happening. It would literally require Jesus' second coming for this to actually be dismissed on. I'm sorry. I'm honest, and I'm sorry. Like, yeah, something would have to happen. The judge would have to be so corrupt, or like, I'm sorry, that you can't be this bad. Jacob also offered to set up a phone call between Lorenz and Miss Zila, who had offered to be an advisor to GIV. Hey, do you have a few minutes to chat for a story on collab houses? Yeah, we can schedule. Oh my gosh. Okay. Thus, Lorenz knew that Jacob was being transparent about plaintiff's relationship with Ellie Zila, and Lorenz was put on notice of the true facts prior to publishing the article. Despite knowledge of these facts, defendants published the article, falsely claiming that plaintiffs had tried to circumvent Ellie's mother by leaving Ellie on the deck after the mother had requested her name to be taken off. The article twisted the facts to make Jacob seem predatory toward young talent and dishonest with potential clients about who influences represents. Yet, none of this ever happened. Indeed, Jacob never even referred to herself as Zila's manager. And when Zila was scheduled to join in on any influences opportunities, Jacob's always made that clear. As seen in the following, you cannot. I'm sorry. I am so sorry, but what the hell? I can't. I really can't. Defendants were expressly made aware of these inaccuracies but left them in the published article. Lorenz then doubled down to accuse plaintiffs of being people who exhibit child stars, which is not only grossly defamatory but factually indefensible given that Lorenz had only one source who was under 18. The devastating aftermath of the defendant's lies. Within a matter of days after the article was published, L'Oreal informed plaintiffs that it was no longer proceeding with its branding agreement with influencers. Numerous influencers under contract with influencers breached the agreement, citing defendants' false allegations of illegal and unethical conduct against the plaintiffs. I don't think they have to show anything to prove that yet. It's just the anti-slap. But I know they have proof. I know there's proof. I just know there's proof, because you can't say all these things, provide this much evidence to even survive the anti-slap, and then you don't have proof of these damages that you're alleging. It's just not. It's insane if it's that. You understand? So anyway. Influencers, brands, and social media platforms now refuse to work with plaintiffs based on false allegations in the article. Influencers lost all its creator and consulting clients as a result of the article. Jacob had to seek mental health treatment and suicidal ideations after seeing our lives' work destroyed by a dishonest, agenda-driven journalist who used a megaphone of the Times to send shockwaves through plaintiff's world and destroy her career. As a result of the defamatory article and the ensuing devastation of plaintiff's business and finances, Jacob, who lived in California at the time the article was published, was forced to relocate to Las Vegas, Nevada to seek a new career and business ventures. In the height of COVID, I'm sorry, you deserve hell. Lorenz, you deserve hell. I'm sorry, you deserve way more than 11 million coming at you. And Lorenz had been plotting a hate piece since as early as April 2020, but the damage wrought to the defendant's business and reputation is not limited to the immediate aftermath of the article being published. It traces back to spring of that year, as Lorenz had begun to poison the well with Jacob's client as early as 2020. Lorenz began contacting many of plaintiff's clients to press them for negative information about Jacob and influences. For example, Lorenz ruined plaintiff's reputation with everyone who was living with Diomi Cordero, one of plaintiff's former independent contractors, overseeing several creators at the time. Lorenz spread rumors that influences agreements were invalid and that Jacob had exhibited shady behavior the influencers should be concerned about. I gotta say, I'm glad she saved some screenshots at least. Imagine if you lost all of that information alone. I'm just by looking at this, I'm just glad there's at least a shred of evidence, because just imagine if you had all this information and somehow you just didn't turn on your iCloud. It's or you don't even trust iCloud, for example, to have an iCloud account for whatever reason. This is very fortunate, in my honest opinions. Because just imagine if your phone broke or something like that. That's all I'm thinking about as a worst case scenario. Anyway, as a result, plaintiffs lost 5.4 million due to additional contract breaches during the end of April to late July 2020. Influencers that breached their contracts with plaintiffs left either because they were involved in Cordero Lorenz interactions or because they were pressured by the influencers who were involved. Some of them said they went along with Lorenz and Cordero's scheme because Cordero threatened them with kicking them out of the house if they did not go along with it. One recalls speaking to Lorenz twice. The first time was prior to the May article. The first time was prior to the May article Lorenz published in the context of an interview between Lorenz and members of the North Hollywood house who were also influences clients. The person recalls during a phone call with Lorenz Cordero, passing the phone around for the people to say anything about Ari influences. You joking? Wait, quote, passing the phone around for people to say anything about Ari influences. The same person recalls Lorenz having a similar conversations with the GIV girls in late May. I mean, that is hearsay, so it may not factor into anything, because that is, I think, hearsay within hearsay. So yeah, they would have to testify if that even wants to be true. The person further recalls the girls must have spoken to Lorenz in late May, because I felt like I remember that being a thing as well. That it was like, you know. Let me start again. The same person recalls Lorenz having similar conversation with the GIV girls in late May. The person further recalls that the girls must have, quote, spoken to Lorenz in late May, quote, because I felt like I remember that being a thing as well. That it was like, you know, this need for as many people, you know, to communicate, like to give, you know, to add more beef to the story. I'm trying to speak like Lorenz. As it happens, Lorenz applied the same pressure campaign to members of the K&D house to get them revealed dirt, quote unquote dirt on Jacob as well. Around March 2021, Underhill spoke to one Conor McCrory. McCrory transcribed the following conversation where Underhill admits that Lorenz harassed him inadvertently by, quote, by the way, by, quote, constantly asking for dirt on Ariadna Jacob, and two, that Olin advised him to speak to Lorenz as a way to get out of his contract with plaintiffs. Interesting. And even more receipts. Stop. She's already dead at this point. Like, this is not, I mean, it's necessary, but Jesus Christ, I mean, there is too much information. There is. Is it true that Taylor harassed? I am using that term loosely, I think it means to say, oh, you know what, I'll just go. I'm using that term closely to get negative info dirt on Ari. Oh my gosh. JH silence mumbles. Inadvertently, yes. She constantly asks for dirt on Ari and said that my statement would make or break the case. CM, is it true Marcus advised you to talk to NYR contract? Again, this is, I mean, that's hearsay. I mean, this is all, I'm not sure if they will, it depends how the judge, I mean, if they were to allow this into the, I mean, this is just anti-slap, so I guess it doesn't really matter at this point, but I can see this being objected to based on hearsay grounds, I guess. Anyway, 79, Lorenz's approach of pressuring and lying to her sources to get them to affirm her preconceived narrative was again applied in August 2020, when Lorenz called Adam Cohen, a client of plaintiffs from January through August 2020. During this phone call, Lorenz asked Cohen if he had, quote, heard about all the stuff going on with, quote, unquote, plaintiffs, including whether Cohen had heard that Jacob had manipulated talent or otherwise behaved, quote unquote, badly. When Cohen told Lorenz that he had never had a poor experience with Jacob, Lorenz pressed him for information by continuing to make false allegations about Jacob and asking Cohen whether they were true. When Cohen refused to play along with Lorenz's narrative and plaintiffs, Lorenz's demeanor changed, and she appeared to Cohen to sound angry and pissed. She got very short with Cohen, and conversation ended. A true and correct copy of Cohen's signed declaration attesting to these facts is attached here to as Exhibit A. We've already read all the declaration. Lorenz's plot to write hippies as this disguised as a neutral story about the K&D house, similar to the one she had written in January about Hype House, reflects the conniving mentality with which Lorenz approached his piece of reporting, quote unquote, that is reporting. It also shows the depth of her commitment to a preconceived narrative, painting Jacob as an unscrupulous business person who preyed on talented young people who were eager to make it big in the glamorous world of being a TikTok influencer. Lorenz went so far as to use the language of predatory to describe plaintiff's retweet of her own article on Twitter. Oh wow. More receipts. Okay. Using the word predatory, she claimed to be merely quoting one of her sources in the article, but she intentionally misrepresented what Singer's mother said, as is evident from the following snapshot. How many snapshots do you have? From the following snapshot of the article, Singer's mother had referred to the industry as a predatory environment. Oh my days! Yet Lorenz intentionally misattributed this label to the management company influencers. She's done. I'm sorry. I can just imagine her face right now, crying to her pillow. She's dead. I'm sorry. She's gone. Please recover from this, please. I want to see how she would actually win this case. This misrepresentation was not only false, but clearly defamatory to plaintiffs. Lorenz acted intentionally to harm plaintiffs. A2. Lorenz caused further harm to plaintiffs by intentionally doxing them. Oh, why am I not surprised? Doxing. Doxing. That's our trademark. By intentionally doxing them in the article. She did this by disclosing the address of the K&D house where Jacob was living at the time, despite plaintiffs' expressed reservations about letting the address be publicized. Oh my God, are we surprised? In preparation for her May 2020 article, Lorenz group texted Jacob and three of her colleagues asking for the addresses of the K&D, Drip Crib, and GIV houses in Texas pictured below. Lorenz specified that address were, quote, not for publication, that she needed the addresses just to fact check her article. Look, can we just pause for a minute? The amount of blue checks that was twerking on this girl when she said that the entire case was dismissed and now she's gonna delete it. The amount of blue ticks, especially Captain Barge, that was literally twerking on this girl saying, oh my gosh, congrats, congrats, congrats. How embarrassing is this? Like, legit, do you guys have any self-awareness at all? Like, they call themselves journalists, but seriously, you couldn't just do a simple search where she's actually said before that the lawsuit has been dismissed a month prior to it being dismissed. Anyway, okay. She needed. Oh my God. Hi, it's Taylor Lorenz with the NY Times. Can someone please send me the address of it? Why? Like, why? I'm actually angry. There's no way you can lie like this. This is 4K lying. How are you gonna get away with this one? Like for actual, like, this is the definite. This is why the standard was set. This is it. If you need any more proof, this is it. Why would you ask for this address, say it's for fact checking, and publish it? You don't care. That's literally the definition of not caring. You knew what you. Anyway, despite this assurance, however, in August 2020 article, Lorenz included a hyperlink to an address on Zillow. Wow. Which turned out to be none other than the KND house where Jacob was living at the time, at the end of July. By publishing the address where Jacob, a single woman, resided, Lorenz knew that she was reneging on her assurance. That she did so anyway, evinced a malicious desire to harm plaintiffs, particularly because when Lorenz herself faced online harassment, she said in a teary interview on national television that she suffered severe PTSD and felt like any piece of information that gets out on you will be used by the worst people on the internet to destroy your life. It's horrifying. I can't. Why did you? Oh my God. Oh, what a slam dunk. I mean, Jesus Christ. It's horrifying. You know what? Here's the clip with the clown face. Let it rip.
I've had to remove every single social tie. You feel like any little piece of information that gets out on you will be used by the worst people on the internet to destroy your life. And it's so isolating.
And terrifying.
It's horrifying.
I can't believe this. This is the funniest case I have seen since Darrell. I mean, I haven't looked into Darrell Brooks, but from even him holding objections, there's nothing compared to this. Even him holding objections, I haven't looked at that case, by the way, but I've seen screenshots of him holding objections to the charge and everything he's doing. This is on a whole other level. There's no way. No way you can get owned like this. But anyway, evidently she did not mind subjecting Jacob to the same fate. Basically, you gave her PTSD too. But that's not what she's alleging. Just saying. Probably she is. I don't know. But I haven't seen. I'm just. Anyway, Lorenz has a lengthy history of reckless and bad faith reporting. This is not the first time Lorenz has been known to fabricate stories for purposes of publishing a hit piece against those she stands to benefit by ruining their reputation. In a notarized letter written by Carl Offeris, the president of Content Stocks, he describes his experience serving as source for an article Lorenz and the Time published in November 2019, in which Lorenz accused Tanya Tufanian, CEO of digital media company called Smacked. We read the declaration for that, of being a fraud, scamming its customers, and operating a pyramid scheme, scam of scams. Offeris explains a significant disconnect between what he told Lorenz and what eventually appeared in the article, and confirms that Lorenz never asked him for any documentary proof showing Mr. Dufresne defrauded or scammed anyone. A true and correct copy of this notarized letter is attached here to as Exhibit B. That one of Lorenz's own sources has accused her of fabricating allegations out of all cloth while neglecting to fact check any of them speaks volumes as to Lorenz's integrity as a journalist. Given the plethora of documentary evidence that exists in this case as to her purposeful and reckless reporting in the form of screenshots of text conversations, pre-publication conversations between Lorenz and Jacob and her attorney, receipts, public records, communications with third parties, and more, all which thoroughly undermine her factual allegations. It comes as no surprise to learn that Lorenz has engaged in this kind of reckless and defamatory reporting before. It is a modus operandi. It is unclear and precisely why Lorenz left the employ of the Times, despite living in Los Angeles and specializing in covering social media. She left the Times for the Washington Post, not an obvious choice for someone with Lorenz's background. It has been well documented that she is not respected by her peers. She claimed she left the Times because it could not fully appreciate her talent, whatever that means. Oh my God, the snarkiness. Her lawyer is Ahmed Dillon. So, Jesus Christ, the snarkiness in this is amazing. Former colleagues at the Times include highly respected journalist Maggie Haberman, and current colleagues at the Washington Post, including Jacqueline Alemany, have publicly called her out for self-promotion. She has criticized her own colleagues at the Washington Post, specifically when she took sides in the rivalry between Facebook and TikTok. On one occasion, she falsely reported that she reached out to the target of one of her standard e-pieces. I know this one, and false attributed a quote to the wrong source. After being called out publicly, Lorenz failed to take responsibility and instead blamed the Washington Post editors. I know this one. Oh my days. Lorenz's actions were so far outside journalist norms that CNN's then reporter Brian Shelter and CNN's Oliver Darcy publicly called her out. Again, rather than take responsibility, Lorenz attacked Darcy and CNN for engaging in a smear campaign. They are your political allies, you idiot. I'm sorry, but Lorenz, you're a joke. Yeah, you're a joke. Above all, Lorenz is interested in developing and promoting her own brand. She holds herself as an influencer journalist, whatever that means, essentially making her a competitor with the very people she claims to write about. Lorenz does not even attempt to operate within the boundaries of journalistic terms. Bob Woodward, she is not. Again, the snarkiness is just amazing. Lorenz's hunger for fame and loyalty to UTA motivated her to defame plaintiffs. Lorenz had a compelling and self-interested reason to use her platform as a reporter at the Times to ruin the plaintiff's reputation. It is hardly an accident that just before publishing the article, Lorenz had signed a book deal with a Simon & Schuster imprint to write content regarding social media. None other than UTA, United Talent Agency, on one of the largest talent representation firms in the world, and plaintiff's direct competitor, represented Lorenz in procuring that deal. In 2020, UTA was one of the most prominent brands in digital innovation, and Lorenz knew it. Lorenz also knew that UTA sought to increase its presence in the TikTok influencer industry, a sector of digital media that traditional talent agencies had been slow to penetrate, but that Lorenz knew well. This is all of this, by the way. Them alleging this is more speaking to the motive why she would recklessly lie. It's not necessarily speaking to her knowing all this is a lie. It's just this is the motive that she would do it for. It's, whether the judge will lean on this, I don't know, but it is there. On April 6, 2020, 4 months before the article about plaintiffs was published, Lorenz published a hagiography about UTA entitled "These Top Hollywood Agents Are Signing All the Influencers." In it, she highlights UTA and 3 of its executives and closes with a quote from UTA client declaring that the agency to be the most relevant in the industry. At no time does Lorenz disclose her relationship with UTA. Moreover, in signing her book deal, then publishing the article featuring UTA, Lorenz openly flouted the Times' ethical journalism standards, which are contained in an employee manual titled Ethical Journalism Guidebook, The Times. Website says that the guidebook serves as a handbook of values and practices from the news and opinion departments. The guidebook explicitly states that staff members may not accept employment and or compensation of any sort from individuals or organizations who figure or are likely to figure in coverage they provide, edit, package, or supervise. Yet, this is precisely what Lorenz did in procuring the book deal with UTA and then publishing an article in which they are favorably featured. Oh, Lord. Lord. This is bad. It means she will stop at nothing, basically. Basically, she will just stop at nothing. The footnotes are damning. That's all I'm going to say. Feel free to go read them on your own. One of the UTA executives Lorenz touts in her article is its head of digital talent, Greg Goodfried. Goodfried was the same agent that ended up poaching plaintiff's former and promising client, Charlie D'Amelio. Another UTA executive touted by Lorenz was its head of innovation, Brent Weinstein, who, according to plaintiff's former client, Tomlinson, consistently strong-armed Tomlinson to leave influences. Lorenz ingratiating relationship with UTA ended up affording Lorenz access to more sources of August 14, 2020 hit piece about plaintiffs, as several of Lorenz's sources for the article were working with UTA during her reporting. On August 11, 2020, 3 days before the article was published, Goodfried called Jacob and encouraged her to speak directly with Lorenz. Instead of through Jacob's attorneys and representatives. By then, it had become clear that Lorenz was working on a feature in the New York Times, and there was a distinct possibility that plaintiffs would be cast in a negative light. In this discussion, Goodfried did not tell Jacob that Lorenz was a UTA client, but instead stated that Lorenz had indicated that she really liked Jacob and good intentions. This attempt by UTA to bait and switch Jacob was into speaking openly with Lorenz further confirms that Lorenz and UTA were working together and shared a motive to harm plaintiffs. This is, yeah, it's bad. Why? It's very simple why it's bad. She wouldn't have shared any of the info or may not even have participated in any of this had she been upfront about UTA connection. I highly doubt she would even trust her to even come near this whole thing. But I'm glad she did. I mean, the article wouldn't exist because it started based on trust and believing they were doing a story, and it's just turned to this. So it wouldn't. But we got the receipts, so there is good, there is bad. It's balanced. It's perfectly balanced, as it should be. Notably, several influencers who were formerly affiliated with influences landed at UTA as a result of defendants publishing the article. In short, Lorenz was personally motivated to destroy the reputation of one of UTA's competitors with a news story riddled with defamatory allegations of illegal and unethical conduct, because the article would give plaintiffs, its clients, an excuse to breach their contracts and land at UTA, thereby cementing Lorenz's position and favor with the industry titan who could potentially cause Lorenz's career to skyrocket. Causes of action: plaintiffs repeat, incorporate. This is basically just a summary of everything we just read. They demand a jury, but yeah, it's basically the cause of action is basically a summary of everything we just read. Don't feel like we need to go through it. it's damning. But I hope you did get something from this. I will be following this case and updating as it goes if anything interesting happened. I will definitely be updating on the results of the anti-slap. I will definitely be covering Taylor Lorenz response to all of this and how she even manages to respond to this. I wouldn't be surprised if the defense were like, you know what, rest case, let's just go to trial. Would not be surprised at all, because this is pretty bad. But yeah, there's a jury demand here. Pretty sure that is going to be accepted if it survives anti-slap. But I can't, after this, I just can't see it not surviving. It's really bad. It's really bad for Taylor Lorenz. Thank you so much for tuning in to this video. Thank you so much for hearing me talk about this. I know it's been a long trilogy to even get here, but I hope I have provided you with enough context, enough information about this case, and to finally arrive to where we are now. Because if anyone knows me, and if anyone knows anyone that knows me, they will know Taylor, yes, she's hated universally. Like, I'm not the only one who hates her, but she really gets under my skin. Just not just for the whole legal bites and lawsuit fiasco that happened, but just purely because I just hate liars. I hate them with a passion. Like, people that twist everything, I will come at you. It's that's not the reason. It irks me. It irks me to a level to see someone lie this bad and would destroy a minority, you know, life like this. Just look at the optics. It literally seems very racial and is brushed under the rug, like it happens to a lot of Latinos and Latinas. It just irks me, like, because I saw a video as well of how she even twisted a conversation that had nothing to do with racism or anything like that, but because it was a black creator there, she decided to say it was racist. When I see things like that, and then you do this to them, like, it just seems like you just don't like people like this, and you turn around and use other minority groups to boost yourself up. Because it is known that Latinos and blacks don't tend to get along too well, but they're both, anyway, anyway, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. I will be working on more videos, and yeah, like I don't have that mind. I don't have that mind. I don't like to have that mind that goes there, but this is so targeted and this is so in your face that this was nothing more than bringing down someone who has broke their back to get to where they are, worked so hard, basically did everything you could. Is akin to Boozy and Nate the Lawyer, like, and then you attack them for it. It's like it's anyway. It's bad. It's bad. I personally don't like to go there, but this is what it reeks like to me. It just seems like for you to do, she wouldn't. Anyone else, I don't think she would do this to like this. Not on this level. This is, anyway. I don't like speaking on things I can't prove. There's a lot of inferences here. It's just what I see. I don't like seeing it, because again, I'd rather have it be so overt that I'm like, yeah, this is it. But a lot of these things nowadays is packaged like this, that you can't actually speak on or prove it in this way, if you know what I mean. But reading through all of this, there is just so much provable that it was just malicious. Anyway, we'll be looking to cover the Kevin Spacey case that's happening, the the James Masterson case. There's so many that's happening in the world of law and movies that I am honestly struggling to see how I'm going to present these content to you guys. I'm even struggling to see how I'm going to navigate this YouTube world, because again, I come from a business background, I come from a marketing background, where I understand that people like a one streamlined thinking and having, but I have a lot of interests, and I know the people that know me know I have a lot of interests. I'm still trying to figure out how to merge all of this together so that it is more like a television channel within a television within YouTube, that you can choose the content that you want to watch and not just have it be just cases. And I get it. I'm not knocking anyone that does it in that format. I'm just saying, like, for me, I just have a different approach to this. Maybe it might evolve to a singular channel. I have no idea. But for now, I really enjoy everything that I'm doing, and I really appreciate all of your support. I really appreciate all of your comments and your feedback. It really does help. I want to do this for a long time. I've always wanted to do YouTube. I started in 2017 to 2018. I made a channel way back with the idea of doing YouTube. I just never had the confidence to do it, and when I did get the confidence, I just never got out of my head. And now that I'm finally there, where I can express myself fully and have my thoughts be known, because it wasn't me like this, I'm finally happy that people like what I have to say. It's so unique and so new to me that I didn't think it would even get to this. I know I'm just starting out, but honestly, like, guys, I'm overwhelmed. So thank you so much to all of those that have subscribed. Thank you so much for all those that still subscribe. I really appreciate this. Thank you to all of those that have commented on all the videos that I've done. I love it. Thank you. There's no words to actually express my happiness. Thank you so much. Whether you like this video or didn't like this video, whatever your thoughts may be, thank you for watching. I appreciate that. Have a good evening. Stay blessed.